Hey guys, it's History Behind the Warrior and welcome to another Soul Calibur video. Now in today's video I'll be talking about an OG of the series and a character that's apparently been leaked for the main roster of Soul Calibur 6, Yun-Seong. Now Hwang is of South Korean descent and he didn't have a lot of opportunities growing up due to his family's poor lifestyle, but regardless of this he grew up with a strong sense of morality and justice. Now unfortunately the next few years wouldn't be too kind towards Hwang, as over the course of time Hwang's parents would both fall sick and sadly pass away. Although this hurt Hwang deeply, it strengthened his own willpower and he grew up as a very strong individual. From here on out he wanted to pursue that strong sense of justice he felt within himself, but knew that he could only do this by enrolling into a martial arts school. So he would become a student at the Song Dojang, an extremely well-known dojo in South Korea that was known to have housed many talented longsword users. Now the dojo was looked over by a man known as Han-Myung, which is, fun fact, the father of Yun-Seong. Now going back to Hwang here, in a very short amount of time he easily became the best student that Yun-Seong had ever produced, and Han-Myung was so incredibly proud of Hwang, he even at one point considered adopting him as a son, but decided to lay off on this idea as he was secretly hoping that a romance would flourish between Hwang and Yun-Seong, but this didn't happen at all. Now during this time Japan had sorted out its own civil war and had its eyes set on foreign conquest, with South Korea being one of the places they wanted to conquer. Now Hwang would rally with the rest of his people in order to defend Korea, but was approached by his admiral Lee Sun-shin and was given the mission to track down a weapon known as Soul Edge, as it was considered by many at the time to be the sword of salvation. So Lee Sun-shin believed that if Hwang was able to obtain the sword and bring it back to Korea, they'd be able to fight off their invaders and fight back against anyone that wished to invade their land. Now Hwang would set off to try and track down Soul Edge, but he did unfortunately have to cut his journey short, and that's due to the turmoil between Japan and South Korea getting out of hand. So he decided to return back home in order to help his people. And whilst he was out, he also came across Yun-Seong, who at the time was chasing after Soul Edge as well. So he made sure that he brought her back home safely too. But it wasn't exactly all sunshine and rainbows. As you see, when he returned Yun-Seong back home, there was some turmoil between herself and her father, something of which Hwang didn't really want to be caught in the middle of. And during this time as well, he would also be challenged by Yun-Seong, a young student at the Song Dojang who idolized Hwang growing up. Unfortunately, he would have to decline as time was short and he needed to commit to his militant duties. Now when he returned back to the front lines, Hwang would be promoted to Commander of the Coast Guard, a title that he was very proud of, but one that he did hold for a very short amount of time. You see, just after obtaining the title, he'd be approached by Kong, who would inform him that Yun-Seong had once again run away from home. Now understandably angered and worried, Hwang would once again approach his commanding officer Lee Sun-shin under the disguised mission of him chasing after Soul Edge once again. Now he was indeed successful in tracking down Yun-Seong, but he was horrified to learn about the true properties of Soul Edge from her, that the sword was evil and would corrupt anyone that it touched. So Hwang came to the ultimate distinction himself, but they would no longer rely on legends and fairy tales. They would instead rely on his own strength to defend South Korea. So he would return back home with Yun-Seong and rejoin the Coastal Guard once more. Now Hwang would report the truth about Soul Edge to his superiors. However, despite it being an evil blade, they were dissatisfied that he came back home empty-handed, and thus would attempt to bury his reputation. Being stripped of his Blue Thunder sword, Hwang decided to leave the Coastal Guard and reevaluate his life choices at his master's dojo. Now whilst training here, an intruder from Japan would break in and attempt to assassinate Hwang, but luckily he was able to subdue him, in which he would interrogate the assassin and learn that Japan had also caught word about the legend of Soul Edge. So because of this, he would report it to Lee Sun-shin and be given his old sword once again. Hwang was now given the mission to track down Soul Edge and prevent it from falling into Japan's hands, even if that meant destroying it. So to guarantee his chances of tracking it down, he would find a few fragments of Soul Edge and use them to track down the whereabouts of the current wielder. Now whilst on his journey, he caught word that Yun-Seong and Yun-Seong were also trying to find Soul Edge, so he was secretly hoping that he could find them and that together they could destroy it. Now during the event of Soul Calibur 4, although he isn't a playable character, we learn in Yun-Seong's prologue that Hwang crossed paths with Yun-Seong, as Yun-Seong was determined to obtain Soul Edge in order to prove to everyone that he's a strong warrior. Now Hwang did warn him about what would happen if he touched this blade, but Yun-Seong would continue on, ignoring his warning. Now Hwang wouldn't stop him, and he would ultimately let him decide his fate for himself. Now as we all do know, during the event of Soul Calibur 4, Siegfried is successful in vanquishing Nightmare. So when Yun-Seong, Yun-Seong and Hwang return back to Korea, are in fact all praised as heroes by their home. And many years later, as time passes by, the trio would open up their own dojo and teach the next generation how to save humanity. But that's it for the story of Hwang. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Now, Hwang's been around for a significant amount of time in the series, and since the most recent leaks of Soul Calibur 6 have been quite accurate, I figured that now would be a great time to become a bit more familiar with this character, since you know it is about 5 or so weeks away now. Now, what are your thoughts on Hwang? Are you looking forward to his possible appearance in Soul Calibur 6? And who else would you like to hear me talk about for next week's episode? Please do comment down below. Anyway, before this video wraps up guys, if possible, let's try getting it to about 500 likes. It's a great way of helping out this channel since YouTube's ad system is broken as hell. So by giving it a thumbs up, it helps out a ton. And if you want to go the extra step, we also have a Patreon set up, and a link for it will be down in the description below. Anyway guys, as always, please comment, like, subscribe, and share this video with everyone you know. Please take care, and I'll see you all next time.